Turbulence is everywhere. It's in the atmosphere, in your bloodstream, in every pipe, every engine, every current on Earth. And despite being something encountered literally every single day of our lives, it remains one of the most profoundly unsolved problems in all of classical physics. Richard Feynman called turbulence the most important unsolved problem of classical physics. And yet, every aircraft that you've ever flown on, every weather forecast that you've ever witnessed, or any kind of engines that has been running in the car, they all rely on our ability to predict these turbulent flows. As a matter of fact, we don't really fully understand it, but we have to deal with it anyway. And that tension between this incomplete understanding but the practical necessity makes turbulence one of the most fascinating subjects in all of engineering and physics. Hello everyone, if you're new here, my name is Tanmay and I'm a postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Oxford. I have been studying turbulence for quite some time and I want to share my knowledge of this fascinating field with you. Previously on this channel, I have uploaded a lot of fluid mechanics content, especially related to solving the Navier-Stokes equation. But this time, I'm trying to take on something that is a little bit more ambitious. This is an announcement video for a brand new series which covers a complete understanding of turbulence, at least as much as we know. I'll try to walk you through all the way from the first principle to the subtleties that are associated with modeling the turbulence itself. And in this video, I will describe what the series covers, the way it is structured, and who it is designed for. But in the comments, if you want me to add something, and if I have this specialization for it, I would love to include that as well. Let me begin with describing who I'm thinking this series would be more suitable for. Because turbulence is a little bit more of an advanced topic, so someone who has at least some understanding of fluid mechanics, a basic familiarization of Navier-Stokes equations. Of course, I'll be talking about these equations in detail much more later on, but I expect that when I say velocity, pressure, and so on, you will have at least some idea to begin with. So the ideal audience could be someone who is in their final stages of their undergraduate courses or any kind of postgraduate studies or research degrees. I believe that this series would be very appropriate if you're working towards turbulence research or any kind of computational fluid dynamics problems, irrespective of your experience in CFD. Also, if you're a working engineer who uses turbulence models but don't really understand what is going on under the hood, this would be a great way to understand the kind of equations that the turbulent flows actually employ in order to be somewhat predictable. And as I said before, you would need a basic understanding of fluid mechanics, and along with that, some understanding of calculus would be really helpful. And when I say calculus, I specifically mean understanding some partial differential equations and basic integration techniques. Of course, you don't need to be a mathematician to start off with, but having some understanding of how to work out the math would be really helpful. Of course, I'll try to provide as much information as possible on the mathematical aspects, but your understanding of it would make it much easier to get to the derivations specifically in the first part of this lecture series. So now let me try to walk you through the overall structure of this series. This series is inspired from two courses that I studied during my PhD. The first course was on the physics of turbulent flows, which was very focused on getting an understanding of turbulent flows more from a physics point of view. And the second course was on the modeling of turbulent flows, which were more associated with how to frame the problem of turbulent flows as a mathematical problem and how to work out the solution to those mathematical equations. And this is what exactly comprise the overall structure of this video series. In the part 1 of this series, we'll be starting with understanding what the turbulence is. Generally, in the undergraduate courses, you are more exposed to laminar flows, so you may have gotten some understanding of something called as the Reynolds number. We'll start with that. We'll start with an understanding of what the Reynolds number is and how it becomes an important parameter when we talk about turbulent flows and how the flow transitions from a laminar state to the turbulent state. We'll take a brief review of the Navier-Stokes equation. So again, if you have completely forgotten about the Navier-Stokes equation, it is totally fine. This will be a brief review. It will not be a full thorough derivation of it, but it will help you come to the page if we want to start this course on turbulence itself, because these equations are going to be very rigorously used throughout this course. So I would want you to be very comfortable while writing and understanding the Navier-Stokes equations. After this, we'll come to something that is called as the Reynolds decomposition. This is totally related to the turbulent flows. And if you have worked with CFD, you may have heard about Rand's equations. So I'll not go into the detail at this point, but this would be our starting point to get into the equations that govern the turbulent flows. And of course, these are going to be the super important equations from here onwards as well. Once we get an understanding of the Rand's equation, then we'll come to what is called as the closure problem. And this is the problem that we run into if we are trying to mathematically model the turbulent flows. And this is what makes turbulence a super challenging problem to work with. After understanding what the closure problem is, then I'll talk about the equations that define and govern the turbulence itself. Right now, I'm being a little bit vague for the pretext of being just very generic, but specifically it means that we'll be talking about the quantities that is called as turbulent kinetic energy and turbulent dissipation rates. And we'll take the example of a channel flow, which is called as a canonical case, which is like a very simplistic case that we can use to understand how the turbulence evolves with space and time. After getting an idea of the equations that govern turbulence, then we'll understand what the energy cascades and energy spectrum is. So far, generally in the fluid mechanics context, at least in the undergraduate studies, we are not exposed very much to the variety of length and time scales in turbulent flows. If you have observed any kind of turbulent flows in nature, you will see that the motion exhibits itself on a variety of length and time scales. And that's what makes the turbulence a very challenging problem to approach. Of course, as much as challenging the problem is, there has been some breakthrough in the turbulence research, and one of this was the Kolmogorov's hypothesis and the 5/3 law that come as a result of this hypothesis. Any turbulence course cannot be completed without getting an understanding of how the Kolmogorov contributed towards the turbulence research. After this, we will understand two very specific cases, one being the turbulent shear flows, such as boundary layers, pipe flows, and channel flows. All of these form the same category of wall-related shear flows, that is, any kind of flow that is affected by the presence of walls. And in this, we will specifically look at a few different examples as well. And finally, in this part, I'll talk about the second class of flows, which is called as the free shear flows, in which there is no effect of wall as such. And some examples of free shear flows are jets, wakes, and mixing layers. So through the part one, I want to give you a mathematical description of turbulence, as well as the overall understanding of how the physics is actually inscribed on those mathematical equations. We'll try to use these examples of various kind of wall-related shear flows or free shear flows to understand how those equations can be simplified, but those simplifications actually give a good understanding of what is going on behind the scene, especially from a physics point of view. The second part of the course is where we use our knowledge that we built in the first half and we put it to work. Specifically, the kind of equations that we had formulated by the end of part one. We will try and understand what are the various tools at our disposal to solve those mathematical equations. Of course, these equations are super hard to solve, and it's not just very trivial to solve those equations very quickly. Therefore, the part two will begin with an understanding of various modeling approaches that we have at our disposal in order to model the turbulence and write the various kind of solvers that we have in the present day. Of course, this will be a very brief introduction to the methodologies that can be adopted. And thereafter, we will jump into what is called as the eddy viscosity and the Boussinesq hypothesis. So just like how the concept of the 5/3 law came out from the Kolmogorov's hypothesis, which laid a very foundational work for the research on turbulence, in the similar way, the Boussinesq hypothesis and the concept of eddy viscosity was very useful in terms of modeling the turbulent flows. When we wanted to solve the turbulent flows, this is the hypothesis that we started off with. After understanding what the eddy viscosity is, then we'll start with what is called as the mixing length model, which was given by Ludwig Prandtl. This is one of the most simplistic model to describe the motion of turbulent flows, and we will see the subtleties associated with this model and how it tries to describe the motion of turbulent flows. After which we will jump into the most widely adopted turbulence model, at least from an industrial perspective, the k-epsilon and the k-omega model. I'll specifically be going into the equations that are used or that are employed when any kind of turbulence model is used to solve any kind of flow. So this is going to be a very generic overview of the k-epsilon and the k-omega model, and I'll actually show you the various constants and all the different equations that are that the model actually solves behind the scene. So this is going to be a mathematically rigorous part, but by the end of these two sections, you'll be able to understand what the model is suitable for, how to approach any kind of flow problem where you don't have a good understanding of which model is likely to be providing you with better results. After this, we will take on another methodology that is called as large eddy simulation. So right now I'll not be describing going into more details as to what these different methodologies are, but basically the mixing length model, the k-epsilon model and the k-omega model, they are associated with what is called as the Reynolds averaged Navier-Stokes equations based methodologies, and the large eddy simulation is somewhat a very different methodology that is used again to model the turbulence, but it is somewhat superior and more computationally intensive than the other methodologies that are listed on this slide. And finally, I'll be using my experience and how I have approached the turbulence data itself. So whenever you solve the turbulent flow problems, you are outputted with a lot of data. I mean, you have the three-dimensional velocity and pressure fields, at least in the case of incompressible flows, and you have the time variation of that as well. So you are left off with a huge amount of data, and it is always very, very challenging to understand what do you want to do with the data. So here I'll try to describe some of the techniques that are used in the turbulence flow research in order to understand how you can use the data to gather meaningful flow physics out of it. So I hope that with this structure you'll be able to get some idea of what the course is going to offer. About how the course will be running. So I'm trying to be as consistent as possible, and I'll be aiming to create one video every 2 weeks. So that would be about 2 videos every month. So if you haven't subscribed or haven't gotten the notifications for this channel, please hit that bell icon so that you would know when the video is out. And as applicable to all other videos on this channel, if you are a member of this channel, then you'll get an advanced 1 week access to the video that is posted. But if you are not a member, the video would still reach you, but with a delay of about a week. I'll also be sharing the lecture notes for every video that I'll be creating and jotting down along the video itself. There would be a link that would be provided along with the video itself. The first video will be coming out on 25th of May. So please put it down in the calendar, or you can just hit the bell icon and there will be a notification in your inbox. In that video, we'll start with an understanding of what the Reynolds number is and how a flow transitions from a laminar state to a turbulent state. And if that sounds exciting to you, I'll see you in 2 weeks.